Okay, so let's see if I can get this a little bit better here. I'm gonna get comfy. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get comfy. Hopefully this isn't making too much noise while I'm fixing it. Hello, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. I wonder if my microphone, it doesn't seem like it's working. It doesn't look, seems like it's working. Hello, hello, hello. I don't see the little lines. Testing one. Oh, there we go. Hello, test, test. Is this coming out? Okay, hold on. I hope this is just not going to be a bad thing to do. Hello, test, test, test. Hi, 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 hi. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully, when somebody comes on, I need somebody to tell me if you can hear me. Because I can't tell if the audio, because the little dotty things aren't going by. So, can somebody please tell me before I start if you can hear me? Can you hear me? I think I can put it in the chat. Because I don't want to like start talking and like say the whole thing and then you just can't even hear me. Because that would kind of suck to like say a whole thing. So, hello. Welcome, whoever's here. Do you think that you might just let me know if you can hear me? Even if you're not going to stay, even if you're not going to stick around, can you just let me know if you hear me, please? Hello, hello. Okay. I don't know. I think it is working. All right, well, I'm just going to go for it because I don't know. Let's see. If it doesn't turn out, you know, is what it is. So I'll try to wait for some people to jump on. So if you are new, my name is Kenyatta Christina. This is Tuesday night. We're going to be talking about my experience with ET Contact, my star family, knowing, finding out who I truly am, finding out my purpose, and, my journey through this ascension and communing with ETs and my star family. So the first one I talked to you guys about, I think that we ended when right after I videotaped and I started watching the videos and, uh, I got all the photos and they were changing. And so I think that's where that one ended. So I'm going to keep going. If you want to listen to the other one later, you can do that. Okay. So the next morning after I had got obsessed with the videos. Okay. I was so obsessed with the videos. I showed my friend that I was staying with at that time, and she just blew me off. She was just like, at the time, I couldn't understand why she was blowing me off like that. But now I understand because, what I was asking her to look at and believe me was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So she just kind of dismissed me. Thank you, Hoodrip. I appreciate that, baby. Kisses for you. Mwah, I love you. So I was just kind of like, okay, am I crazy? Like, my friend won't, she's just blowing me off. I felt really sick. Like, I was so deathly ill. And I had to drive to Sedona that night to go pick up my son. And so my friend was like, "Yay, Justin, I'm glad you made it, baby." My friend said, "Girl, you cannot drive. You look like death." And I was like, "I can't. I have to go get my son. Like, I can't just leave him there." And and I was just trying to get through life, and it was like a 2-hour drive. So I get ready to go, and then I go to go get some gas first, and I'm getting gas, and I just feel this interesting presence, like something just was, I don't know. And I look up, and there is this light, like it was, I know it's a starship now, but there was a starship like so close to the the gas station, like it wasn't in the sky, like it was right there. And I was like looking around to see if anybody else could see what I was seeing, and I'm just like, okay, am I fucking crazy? Like what? I felt like I was losing my mind, and I was like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it. It was too much. Like my brain was just like, is there really a fucking starship? And nobody sees it except for me. Like I must be a freaking lunatic. That's the only possibility. So I just try to ignore it, and I'm just pumping gas, and to myself I'm saying, I don't want this. Please leave me alone. Like I feel like I'm talking telepathically, like please leave. I don't want this. This is not my life. I don't know what this is. Please leave me alone. So I just kept like repeating that, repeating that. Yeah. And I kept repeating it, because I was just so frazzled. And so I hop in my van, start driving to Sedona, and the highway to Sedona is really dark, like pitch black dark. Like you have to have some brights on, and if it's late, and especially if it's late at night. So I'm driving, and it's just me on the fucking road, right? Just me, and I'm freaking out. And so I'm driving, and I am surrounded. Okay, front, back, side to side. There's four of these starship lights going as fast as me. Like I'm driving, 65 miles an hour, and they're like on the sides of me. I'm trying to like show you guys. Here's my van, and here are the lights. I can only do two lights, but they were like like they were right with my car, my van. The front one was like right there, like it was moving with me. It was crazy. And I just kept saying, I don't want this. I don't want this. Please leave me alone. I don't want this. Please leave. I was freaking the F. I can feel it right now, just talking about it. Freaking out, y'all. And they just stayed. They stayed. And I was so sick. God, I was sick. So I'm like fighting my illness, looking at these lights following me. Um, and she lives like in where my son was. He was visiting his friend, and the son's parents live like, you got to drive through all these damn woods and shit. So I'm driving through trying to get to her house. I get to her house, and she opens the door, and I just collapse because I was so sick. And so she puts me to bed, and she gives me a room by myself so I could just rest. And so I'm lying in the bed, and these freaking lights, you guys, were outside of my window. And they like kept flickering. It was almost like a Morse code or something. And I was just like, please, they followed me here. I was freaking out, you guys, freaking the F out. And they just kept flashing their light through the window, like in this Morse code something. I could tell it was some sort of pattern. And I could hear them out there. And so I was just like in the corner of the bed, because the bed was, in the corner of the room. So I was like stuffed my body in the corner of the room while I just watched, them flickering their lights through the window. And I was terrified, and I was terrified because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why it was happening to me. Nobody would believe me, which I completely understand. I'm trying to, with my son, like it was all too much. It was all too much. And so, yes, baby, this is part two. And so, I wake up in the morning, and I talk to my friend, my son's friend's mother. I try to show her the pictures, and she's just looking at me like I lost all of my gourds, and I just needed someone to believe me, and the thing about it is that I have I'm like, look at this. Look. And what you're looking at is just so wild that they would just, you could see the disconnect. Like you could see that they were like, this is not something that I want to experience. And they would just disconnect. It wasn't like, oh my God, nothing. It was just like, shut down. And I was just like, okay, whatever. So, um, I get to my I get to my son's father's house. It's because I was taking him there, and we're stopping there. And then I was going to drive back to Phoenix, but I was so sick. And so I asked my son's father if I could just stay the night to, recoup because I was so sick. So I stayed there overnight and was able to rest, and in the morning I talked to my son's father and tried to get him to, somebody please believe me. I'm like, please, what is this? Like, help me. Somebody help me. What is this? And he did the same thing. It was like they just check out, like as if I'm not saying anything. It was the wildest thing. They was just check out as if I showed them a picture of my dog or something. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. And then I drove back, to Phoenix the next day, and I just became this insane, crazy woman, so obsessed with these pictures changing and the video, and I would take more pictures, more. I would get still shots, more still shots, and then the video would play again. I would run it back again, play more still shots, and they would change more and more and more, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I was a basket case, you guys. I was freaking out of my mind because what I was seeing and I was experiencing it by myself, and I was living the van life at the time. So I like tricked out this van, like and put all like a bathroom sink, bed, all the stuff in there. So I tricked out this van, and they would come there. Like I would stay up at night. There's so many stories. I would stay up at night and sleep during the day because at night they would come to my van. I would be looking like through the rear view or the side mirrors. I could see him like coming up. It was the freakiest shit, you guys. They would they would freak me out, but they wouldn't do anything to me. Like they didn't. I mean, they did do something to me, but they wouldn't, like they would just keep coming over, And so they didn't harm me, but it was just too out there, like that this was happening to me. And yeah, and so as I'm like, getting being all obsessed with the photos and the video, I'm gonna tell you guys about what one of the stories the photos had created. Because let me preface it with this: the photos. Okay, so I would take a still shot, and the photos would be like crystal clear, and they would actually move and tell a story. Like the actual still pictures would come alive and tell a story. Okay. So I would just be like looking at it like, whoa, looking at this still shot like, holy fuck, man. It was nuts. It was nuts. And then after time, because I would watch them over and over and over and over and over. And after over time, the frequency would kind of uh, mess with the picture. Like it would start to like look like it's melting, or it was just turning into, I don't know, but I could see that they were trying to dissolve themselves. Maybe is what they were doing. Some of them didn't. Some of them I was able to keep. Like if you look at it, you can see exactly. There's no question about what in God's name is that. And some of them, they dissolved themselves, which was really interesting. But this one picture, you guys, was so crazy. Okay, so uh, what I saw, the green light I told you guys in the first series, the green light was the starship. Okay, and I told you I saw myself walking a starship. So in the waking world, in the normal world when we're awake, where that starship had landed, when I was videotaping it, there was this giant tree. Like, I mean, it was huge. It almost looked fake. It almost looked like a fake tree. It was so huge. Um, in the photo story, that tree was the actual portal that the starship or whatever craft it was would land, that's their landing spot. It was their landing spot. Um, and so, there's a starship there, okay? And the extraterrestrials that were manning this particular ship were not good. They were not good. Um, they actually really despise humans and just do terrible things, terrible, terrible things. And they exist. And so what these beings would do, I don't know if this video might get taken down, I don't know, but what these beings would do is they come down, and I'm closing my eyes because I want to see it. They come in and they land in that portal, and then that tree just kind of like shapeshifts into whatever it is they land in. And then they were projecting these beams of light, of different lights, and these beams of lights would turn, like their giant beams would turn into places. For example, this one, that particular one that I saw, was a nightclub. It was a nightclub. It was a high-end nightclub. They created what looked like a high-end nightclub, but it was actually a portal that they created in order to harvest humans to come in there. And so I'm just watching this. So, everybody's trying to go to the party. And so the dark beings disguise themselves, excuse me, as the most beautiful people that you've ever seen in your life. Like I want to be you, gorgeous. Like, man, like if you get to hang out with them, you must be something. You must be something. If you hanging out with the crew, like they must own this place because they're beautiful. They look top notch. So everybody was very interested. Everybody that was going to the club was very interested in wanting to sit with the people at the table, like the cool table. So, so I watched this woman walk in, and she's got this cute little umbrella, and she's twirling it. She just knows she looked good. She looks cute. She becomes this target, and so one of the beings invites her over to the cool table, and everybody else is just like, oh, okay, girl, you got, you got to go to the cool table. So she's just having a ball. She goes in, she just sits down, she has a drink, she's talking, everyone just loves her. Oh, she's just the life of the party. I mean, you just can't have a better night than that. It's just perfection. And so she's conversing with this other being, which is, one of those things. I think they were draconian. I could be wrong, but that's the vibe I got. Very demon. They came to eat, basically. It was dinner time. So she's talking to one, and he's fine, like gorgeous, gorgeous. And they were talking for a long time. It seemed like hours. They just sat there and talked. And then he goes in to kiss her. She's finally just like, oh my God, I get to kiss him. Oh my God, yes, I get to kiss him. And so she goes in, and he grabs her face, and she goes in for the kiss. And he puts his mouth on hers, and there was just like no movement, frozen. And then all of a sudden you see like her open her eyes, you know, and he pulls away, but her mouth is still stuck. But when he pulls away from the kiss, they have all lost their shape shifting. Like she can see what they really are. And she, the terror, the terror that I saw in that lady's eyes, I have never seen any terror like that. Like she literally aged and her hair went white just by looking at these things, like she looked at it and it was just it was just the most silent, loud terror I've ever witnessed. And these beings were like, yeah, they were like getting off on her terror, like getting off on it. When I say getting off, I mean doing sexual acts, like loving her terror. And so after they got off on her being so terrified, they just like literally mauled her and ate her. And it was disgusting. And they got back, they put their flesh suits back on and went and got some dessert. And then all of a sudden, like, the people, I saw the people coming in droves, hundreds. They were just like eating, boom, 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 next, boom, boom, boom. Like it was thousands of people in one night that went through that club. And, I had so many, there was just, I was fascinated with what the fuck I was watching for one. And then, my brain, I went down this alley of like, this is after I like kind of like got my head back in gear and I can like analyze things. And I was like, okay, so if these people, because they're real people, you can't just come here, eat people, and leave. Like that messes up the status quo for a lot of people, especially, and it messes up the status quo for them. Like there's gonna have to be an explanation with thousands of people gone a day, and so I went back into it, and so it was a different uh, photo, but it went into that story and said what happens to keep the status quo so that they can continue to do what they do is they don't fully uh, take the life. Like they'll eat, but they leave a little bit of life in there so they can just haul them out. Go out, you'll be fine, uh, and some of these people are like super lethargic. They don't know what happened. Some of them, didn't seem like they were going to ever be the same. They just changed. They're just like these basic like vegetables. Some people, it seemed like they made a quick clone of it. Because it was a certain person that can't be dead yet. Like they need this being to stay alive so that, but they ate too much, so they had to like make another one to keep the status quo. It was a whole like process. It was a whole process. I'm just watching it, and then he just closed up shop and left. Closed up shop, left. And that's the only time I've seen it. I don't know if it was, I felt it was a reoccurring thing, like they do this every night. They must come, they do it every night. Just come and eat people. Like, but it wasn't just that. Like they got off on so much darkness. And I don't know why they let me see that, but um, it was very, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I don't know why I was able to see that. But there's so much more, you guys, so much. Kind of like, I haven't talked about this in so long. So like going back into it is, I'm really going into like, I'm really back in it. And so I'm feeling all the feelings again. And it's just, I appreciate you guys listening and being part of it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Please feel free. Um, but yeah, so that is that part. Uh, I don't know if I mean if you are you guys good? Maybe you want to hear one more quick little story because there's so many. There's so many. But yeah, I'd love to tell you one more if you guys have time, or maybe you can just put it on a different video. But isn't that wild? And we can even talk about what I just talked about. Isn't that wild? Yeah, you know about draconians. I studied draconian magic for a long time, so I know about draconians. I know what they be into. Um, and it felt draconian. It felt draconian, you know. And not all draconian is dark and evil, you know. Not all draconian is dark and evil, but the majority, yes. And as I, went down, like as I'm going down this road of learning what the galactic world is like and other beings, and uh, there's worlds, there's worlds on top of worlds. Like we're all like together. So like these beings, the draconians, they're doing their thing, not worried about, like literally, they're doing it right now tonight. And the reason that we aren't able to see them is because of the vibration that they're on, the frequency that they're on. So they put themselves on a frequency so that they're vibrating where we can't see it. We can't like look and see. So I was vibrating at that frequency to be able to see it because I was, to be able to see these videos, and I was vibrating at that frequency. So that's what it's really about. That's how they can hide themselves. They hide themselves with frequency, of course, and like shape shifting and things like that. But it was just showing me that this goes on all over the place, all the time, and you can make people aware of it, but what are we going to do? Nobody's going to say, what are you going to do? It's just, we've been conditioned to think it's so unbelievable. So trying to get people to believe it is a waste, I think. And I'm gonna kind of skip ahead just a little bit. I know that the reason I went through this whole thing was because my star family is Arcturus, Arcturians. I'm Arcturian from planet Arcturus, and so my whole thing was to remember about Arcturus. And once I had the remembrance, like it was like a whole like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember, like I totally remembered everything about Arcturus, everything. I remember everything. And then I was like, oh, okay. So everything was an aha moment at some point, but I had to go through this whole breakdown of my human brain of what's really happening, which was the hardest thing to do by yourself when nobody believes you, when beings are constantly chasing you, you know. Yeah, but I know I was chosen for the purpose. So my actual, when I had my remembrance of Arcturus, um, the whole point of my purpose as an Arcturian, as Queen Arcturus, is to prepare humans for when the vibrations are visible, and we will see other beings regardless if we want to or not. At some point the vibrations are going to like, even if it's for a like split second, they're going to cross paths, they're going to mesh at some point. And humankind will see these other beings, and it's best to purposely, voluntarily um, see these beings, and purposely shit your pants. Like, okay, it's like when I knew that I had to do this purpose, I was like, okay, so I gotta get comfortable with seeing other beings. Yeah, yeah, yes. And I can tell something weird is going big time, baby. You're right on. You're right on. It's coming. And so I was actually talking to Mark the other day about this, that the human body has that factor, like it's always going to be there. You're always going to have that factor. I mean, the first time you experience it, in my experience and with others that I have brought through their experience, the first time you see a being like that, it is just, there's no words. There's basically no words. And so I practice. I'm like, okay, so once the beings knew that I can see them, it was the party. Like everybody's like, she can see it. They could, so they would always just come around like all the time, so many different ones. And it was nuts. And so because I had a connection, and so they wanted a connection to human. So they're like, oh my God, she can see us. So it was just like a whole thing. Like all of them wanted to connect. Dark ones, light ones, you name it. They're like, hey, can you see me? Yes. Can we, it was a whole thing. And I knew I had to like get close. Like I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be telling people about these beings, I have to go into it with purpose and see them and get close to them. And I'm like trembling while I'm thinking like, oh God. I told them one night because they were just coming to me. Like it was crazy. It was nuts, you guys. They were just, Arcturians over there. It was just too much. And I was like, okay, hold on. We have to do this with intention because you guys are like invading my space. Um, so I told them, I was like, I want you to come to my window tonight. Don't come in. Do not come in my house, but come to my window. Just stay at this part right here. And I kind of like went to where I wanted them to stay. And I said, just stand there. Like, don't do anything, please, because I don't want to. I know I was scared. I was getting scared. And so I fell asleep that night, and I woke up to this bright light. It's like a lighthouse, just like went right through my eyelids, and I was just like trying to. And then it was like sparkly, outside my window. It was like these little tiny like fireflies or something. And so I'm just looking, and then the shape forms of this being, and he's giant. Like he's aliens don't look like what I mean. There are the grays and the ones that the big guys, and those they do exist, but the more common ones don't look anything like what you would think. And I got this one on video too. I got this being on video too. And we just had this interaction for hours. All we did was sit there and stare at each other, just like I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And it seemed like the being couldn't believe that he was looking at a human. And I say he because he had a masculine energy. And so we just stare at each other. And he just sparkled, and I just stare. And sometimes some beings would just like swirl in behind him and go back out. And he didn't move. He didn't move. He just stood there, and he was tall. He seemed very just like, I don't know, I can't even explain it. He had manly features, but he was giant. But he just stood there. Sometimes he like would have a little smirk or something, and it was nuts, you guys. I have it on video. I'm gonna put the videos up. Um, yeah, we just stood there. I laid in bed, and because I was like, just stay right where. Please don't come any closer, because the vibration that this being was on. was, they're vibrating like super, like if it would have gotten too close, my pride would have spontaneously combusted because the flesh is so dense, and that is a light being. So, um, yeah, it was just the most incredible thing. And then the sun was coming up, and as the sun was like rising, the being was like would start to disappear like from its feet with like those firefly things, until it all went all the way up to his head. And and I just sat there with my video camera like, I am not gonna not get this on video. I'm not gonna not get this on video. And it allowed me to videotape it. Because usually, well, not usually, but sometimes when you want to video beings like that or something like that, they'll distort the video, or just their energy distorts the video, or sometimes they just don't want to be, they're not trying to get recorded. I don't know, but um, just to be able to sit there and record it, just we didn't say a word, we didn't talk telepathy, we were just both so in awe of each other. That giant being was just as much in awe of me. It was beautiful. I'll never forget it. All right, my babies. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or want to share your story with me, I would love to hear it. And yeah, let's start a conversation about it. Okay, let me see. Let me read a couple of you guys' things. So, I've been seeing a lot of awakening happening and experiencing a lot of demonic attacks. Yes, baby, the demonic attacks are it's all too much right now. They're doing the most. They're doing the most. Yeah, we just have to be ready. We just have to get ready as possible. Like you're not on this live by accident. I don't know what we ain't talking about ET contact just because it's fun to do. You know what I'm saying? Like it is fun, but like you said, there's something going on. So there's a Brazilian scientist. He made a scope called Energy Vision. It's a high frequency snapshot camera. Ooh. He has a ton of photos of light beings in different colors. Ooh, I'm gonna look him up. If you can link that, that would be really cool. I'd love to see that. And I did find my people. Like I did find my Earth people. That we were able to they would share photos and be like, oh, there's beings in my backyard. Check it out. So I did find that group of people where we did exchange photos because we're seers, we can see it. So and that's another thing, being a seer, everybody doesn't see because seers have a different vibration and we can match vibration. So that's why we called seers, because we can see it. So it was nice to find another group of seers. But yeah, Wanda, if you want to share that link, if you come up with it, just come on back to this live and put it in the chat. That'd be great. Oh, Daniel Neems, everybody. So I'm going to check that out. Thank you so much. Appreciate you putting that in there. So yeah, thank you guys so much again. Please share the video. I'm here every Tuesday to give you more. There's so much more, you guys, so much more. And yeah, I'm enjoying telling the story because it takes me back to where it all started, and how it ends is just miraculous. It's miraculous. So I love you. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Sleep well, and I'll see you next Tuesday.